Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1990's Represent. We're starting our second cycle in 1999, starting off with an album. And this episode, we're talking about the Slim Shady LP by Eminem. Recently re-listened to this to kind of get ready for his newest album, The Death of Slim Shady Coup de Grace, which I really enjoyed. But that came out, and it was a perfect time to revisit this album from this series as well. Have a lot of really good memories of listening to this album. I think it still holds up. It's still an incredible, I don't want to call it a debut, but it essentially is a debut. He had an album like prior to this that didn't sell all that well. So this is technically his second studio album, but basically kind of like how I look at Alanis Morissette's Jagged Little Pill as essentially a debut because her first two albums were so different from Jagged Little Pill. Same with this, where basically this is the album that kind of put him on the map, so to speak. I have some notes here. We're going to go through those notes. Going to discuss the album and all that. Let me just get to where we're at here. Yep, there we go. So Eminem, the Slim Shady LP, first released February 23rd, 1999. Like I mentioned a second ago, Infinite was his first album that came out in 1996. But essentially, that sold really badly. Like I think like there was an interview where he was asked like roughly how many copies he thinks it sold. He thinks it maybe sold like 70. There were some various like people. Some other people like maybe thought it sold like maybe like 100, but definitely nowhere near as successful as this album or any of his other albums. So like I said, basically a debut, and he was frustrated that it didn't do very well, and the whole Slim Shady persona was kind of developed, kind of like as a result of that initial album not doing very well. I remember hearing it was in a high school computer lab, and somebody was like, "Hey, like check this out," and they're like, "This is My Name Is." It's by Eminem, and they played I think it was like the single of it because the single came out before the album was released. The single came out in like January of that year, and the album came out in February. But I remember hearing that in a computer lab. And I remember my friend was telling me it was from Eminem, and I initially thought that was like a duo, like maybe two people that both have names that begin with M or M's, and he's like, no, it's Eminem, it's Eminem. It's just like it's a dude, like a white rapper who at the time there wasn't a whole lot of them. Like I remember like Beastie Boys were kind of like the only rap group that I remember like listening to that had like like white members. So it was kind of very interesting because he was like a white rapper, but he was also just like very, very talented. So like like one of the best rappers probably of all time that just happens to be white, which is really, really cool. Let me see here. Yeah, so like my notes here, I have a note about the senior air band. So air band was a thing at my high school. They did a fall one and a spring one. I remember like doing. I think I did like three of these total. Like I did like Sugar Hill Gang's Rappers Delight with my friends, which we won first place for, and then I think I got like second place for like Kung Fu Fighting, like the senior year, the fall one, and then my senior year, the spring one. The last one I did was My Name Is. I had to actually go out and find a store. Like luckily Walmart at the time was selling a lot of edited tapes, and I definitely needed an edited copy of the song for the airband. So I bought the edited tape, and even the cashier at Walmart's like, he's like, "Hey, this is edited, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, actually, I need it to be edited." So brought that. They played that. It was a fun time. I think I got like third place on that. So I think I went from basically first, second, and third place at these competitions, which are pretty good because there was quite a few people that were actually signed up for them. But yeah, my final airband at high school was was My Name Is. There's a lot of comedy and satirical lyrics in the album. It kind of like there's some albums he puts out which are more serious. The Slim Shady ones seem to be a little like like on the sillier side most of the time, and I think it's kind of like that persona. Because I remember like somebody was asking me like I think it was like a family member was like they're like who's Eminem? I'm like, oh, it's the rapper. He's like, then they're like, then who's Marshall Mathers? I'm like, same person. They're like, who's Slim Shady? I'm like, same person. You know, like different like personalities essentially, like for the same person. The Slim Shady one is definitely like the most like dialed up of those like personas, I think. But I also remember I had a coworker um, like back in the day, like you would have like a CD wallet you would carry around. Like you could tell a lot from a person by what was in their little CD wallet. I remember I had a job where basically like during my breaks I would like have my like Discman in and stuff like that, and she was like, "Hey, can I look at your CD wallet?" So I like she like looked through it. She's like, "Oh, the Slim Shady LP." I was like, "Yeah," like I picked that up, and she was telling me a story about how her boyfriend had picked it up, and she was kind of criticizing it before she heard it. She was like, "You like this is her talking to her boyfriend, not talking to me." But she's like, "Oh, I said like that you bought that album with that really like silly song on it, that dumb song. Like, what were you thinking?" And then she told me like then after like she listened to the entire album, it could completely like change her perspective on it. She's like, "Hey, the album is actually really good. My Name is still a silly song, but the rest of the album is super solid. I think it still holds up very well." So that was like a really kind of like fun story from like a coworker about the album. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200. It was right behind TLC's Fan Mail. Fan Mail also a really good album. I might do that on a feature cycle through 1999. I think it came out in 99, or it may have been late 98. Won, I think, a couple Grammys. So, Best Rap Album at the 2000 Grammys, and then also Best Rap Solo Performance as well. Dr. Dre had basically like was the one that signed Eminem, and Eminem was a fan of Dre from like the NWA days and all that. I have a quote here about from Eminem about working with him initially. Let me see where we are here. This is a quote from Eminem. It says, "Quote: I didn't want to be starstruck, or sorry, quote: I didn't want to be starstruck or kiss his ass too much. I'm just a little white boy from Detroit. I had never seen stars, let alone Dr. Dre." And then it kind of just goes how like he was kind of a little maybe like a little bit intimidated about working with Dr. Dre, especially after kind of like a debut album didn't do very well. Then one of the best rappers or most popular rappers and producers at the time kind of signs you, and you definitely there's probably going to be a little bit of pressure from that. Let me see what we have here. Eminem was also part of the very first rap concert I went to. So I went to the Up in Smoke tour in the year 2000, and it was like Eminem, it was Dr. Dre, it was Snoop Dogg. I think like maybe Nate Dogg was there. I think Warren G had like a very small set. Ice Cube was supposed to perform, but I think Ice Cube was sick, so Ice Cube wasn't at that show. But it was like a really good rap concert. They did some songs from this album, but then also it was more of the tour in support for, I think it was like the Chronic 2001. I think yeah, Chronic 2001, but also the Marshall Mathers LP. So they came out. Marshall Mathers LP came out in 2000, and this tour was the like summer, like maybe like early fall of 2000. Really good show though. So that's the only time I've actually ever seen Eminem perform live, and it was a very good concert. It was quite good. We got some reviews here for the album. It came out to pretty good reviews overall. Let me just pull those scores up really quick. So AllMusic gave the Slim Shady LP a 5 out of 5. Chicago Sun-Times has it at 4 out of 4. The Entertainment Weekly had it at a C plus, so not so favorable from them. LA Times has it at a 3.5 out of 5. NME gave it only 3 out of 5 as well, but Rolling Stone gave it looks like a 3.5 out of 5. And like oftentimes Rolling Stone, the Rolling Stone album guide has a higher rating, which is their rating is, instead of it being a 3.5 out of 5, it's a 4 out of 5, and Spin gave it looks like an 8 out of 10. We're going to go to our track list now. Let me scroll down to that. So this main album comes in about a little under an hour, 59 minutes and 39 seconds, with 20 tracks. Track 1 is just public service announcement, just like don't try this at home kind of thing. Track 2 is My Name Is. Track 3 is Guilty Conscience. That's a really good one. Track 4, we have Brain Damage, another good one there. Track 5 is Paul, which is a skit. Little like Eminem would throw these little skits in there with like his lawyer and his like managers and stuff like that. So yeah, track 5 is Paul. Track 6 is If I Had. Track 7 is 97 Bonnie and Clyde. Track 8 is just called Bitches, a little skit. Track 9 is Role Model. Role Model is one of the better songs on the album as well. Track 10 is Lounge, which is another skit. It's like them singing. It's like, I never meant to give you mushrooms, girl. Like kind of like a crooner-ish kind of little skit. It's only like a 46-second long track there. Track 11 is My Fault. Track 12, another skit, is Ken Kniff. Track 13 is Come On Everybody. Track 14 is Rock Bottom. Gonna have to censor this next one here. Track 15 is Just Don't Give an F. Track 16 is Soap, which is like a soap opera kind of like interlude. Track 17 is As the World Turns. Track 18 is I'm Shady. Track 19 is Bad Meets Evil. And then track 20 is Still Don't Give an F. So, like I said, 20 tracks, 59 minutes and 39 seconds overall on the length. But just a really good album. Like, I remember, like, basically just, this is like obviously before streaming or anything like that. But hearing the My Name Is single, and I remember, like, I think it was like after school one day, because I was, what was I doing? I think I was working like an internship at like one of the local, like a local internet service provider. And we'd get out the bus and my friend's like, hey, you want to go to like the record store before like you go to like work or like your internship or whatever? I was like, sure. And went in, saw this on CD, picked it up, and then brought it home like that night after doing like the my job / internship thing, and really enjoyed the album. It kind of relates back to that work, that story with my coworker where she was kind of like being somewhat critical of her boyfriend for buying the album, but then actually once she listened to the entire album, she really enjoyed it. I think My Name Is kind of like, it's a silly song. It's not my favorite song on the album. I don't really know what my favorite actually is. I think, let's see, Role Model is really fun because it just, some of the lyrics on like, some of these songs are just, they go like really hard, like super, like over the top, like kind of like violent or just like completely like satirical in nature. I think Role Model might be one of my favorites, but Role Model's good. Just Don't Give an F is also really good. I don't think I pick a favorite. I also like Brain Damage and Guilty Conscience are also just super solid tracks off this album. But it was just a really good debut. Like, I don't want to say a debut, but like this more or less was his debut for pretty much everybody that, you know, like didn't buy Infinite or know who he was before signing with Dre. But so I still consider it to be a debut album. The follow-up album, the Marshall Mathers LP, is also excellent. I haven't listened to that one for a little bit, but I'm gonna probably go back and listen to that one at some point because I remember really enjoying the Marshall Mathers LP as well. Eminem Show is really good, and of course, like the newest one, Def and Slim Shady Coup de Grace, also very good. I've been enjoying that quite as much as well. That was very good too. But that is going to do it for this video. We'll be back again in a few days doing a 1999 movie. We'll be coming back after that with another like computer or video game. And then after that, we'll be starting our third cycle, going all the way back to 1990 and going up through the decade again. But that's going to do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.